A dad out of touch with reality asks a grandma on a bus to give up her seat. So I'm riding on a packed bus. It might be October, but the sun hasn't got the memo yet and is bringing the heat. The bus is a sauna, and masks aren't helping us poor passengers one bit. On top of that, every seat is occupied by a grandma. Apparently, all grandmas have decided to take a hike today. Literally. All of them are wearing sporty clothes and look pleasantly wasted. The rest of us are entirely too close and personal with each other. On one stop, a family of 4, 2 parents and 2 10-year-old kids, barely manage to squeeze themselves through the door. The parents can't really move, but the kids slip between people's legs to make a quick run around the bus. They come back whining. There aren't any seats. Parents try to shush them, but they whine louder. Mr. Entitled Dad pushes people around to get to the nearest grandma and sweetly says, "Is there a seat here for 2 kids?" The grandma looks at the kids and, unimpressed, asks him in return, "Are the kids tired?" The dad isn't expecting defiance and answers truthfully, "They've been at the pool all day." Grandma just shrugs. Entitled Dad indignantly exclaims, "Lady, this could be your grandkids." And the grandma just goes, "Young ones have more energy to stand than me." The dad looks around and sees other grandmas giving him disapproving stares. He blows up at them. He goes on a tirade. My best summary is as follows. Idiot people like you are the ones whom our country was built by, and you only know how to do country work. No wonder our country is this stupid if people as stupid as you created it. Go back to the fields if you can't follow city rules. At this point, he is full on screaming and having a tantrum. The kids look mortified, and his wife just kind of stands there. Another grandma stands up and lets the kids take her place just to shut him up. Unfortunately, he doesn't, and the tirade continues on for 2 more stops until they get off. All this anger for a few minutes ride. Funny thing is, his kids were the only people on the bus not wearing masks. I had a call from a friend needing my help because someone ripped her guide dog's harness out of her hand. I just saw a post on here which reminded me of something I experienced a few weeks ago. I have a friend who is blind and uses a guide dog to get around. She was on a train and exiting at a main station, and we had just texted, so she knew that by chance I was also at that station. She called me and said I needed to help her. While she was exiting the train, someone forcefully ripped the harness out of her hand. She knew her dog was close by, she could hear him barking, but he didn't return to her as he normally would in instances when she dropped the harness. I rushed over to the platform she was on and saw her standing there helplessly. Then I saw the dog. He was held by a woman and a kid tried to pet him, but he barked and tried to get away. I ran to my friend, told her I could see the dog, led her to a nearby bench where she could sit down, and then I went to the woman, and I said, "Hey, sorry, could you please give that dog back? It's a guide dog." She snorted and said, "I saw your friend using a phone, so she's obviously not blind, it doesn't need the dog, and my kid just wanted to pet it." Now the dog knows me, so he tried to get to me. I told her that my friend uses a special accessibility software on her phone, and to please give me the dog. Then the kid started throwing a tantrum. That caught the eye of a train service woman who came over and asked what the fuss was about. The mother tried to claim that the dog was hers. I said, "That's nonsense. It's obviously a guide dog. If he was theirs, then firstly, why would he try to get away from them? And secondly, they should have his papers on them, and that my friend had all his papers on her." The train service woman said that the harness could also be a fake one he was wearing for a joke, and that maybe he was trying to get away because I frightened him. I then said, "Okay, do they know his name?" He is trained to respond to his name in a special way, with his tail pointed up, ears straight up, and coming to stand next to you. And if they called him by name and he did that, it would amaze me. But I knew he would when I did. Obviously, they didn't know his name. But when I called him, he put his ears and tail up and tried to come to my side. The train service woman then called the police. We have some policemen at every main station, and they first handed the dog back to my friend, and then they had a look at the cameras. That woman snatched away the harness right as my friend was exiting the train. It's a wonder she didn't get hurt. That's why they pressed charges for assault. But the woman only got to pay a fine in the end because it was her first offense. What bugs me the most is that none of the passengers did anything. They all saw it happening and no one stopped. Stop staring at us. Entitled Grandma says to me, a lifeguard. Hello everyone, you probably don't remember me, but I posted a story a while back about an entitled mother demanding a CPR baby mannequin for her daughter while I was training to be a lifeguard. Well, we fast forwarded from that, and I completed my pool and waterfront certifications and landed a job teaching swim lessons to little kids. All in all, a great first job for me. Last Sunday was the last swim class of the session. The way our program works is that we have a quote family splash on the last session, where we take out all the lane lines in the pool and parents are able to join their kids in the water to just swim around and have fun. Obviously, none of the instructors are teaching swim lessons at this time, so we stand outside the pool and lifeguard while the parents and their kids swim. So what ended up happening was that I was standing on the deck, scanning the pool, doing what lifeguards do, when this little boy catches my eye. Now, this boy happened to be in the swim class that I primarily taught, and he just so happened to be a bit of a slow learner. By the end of the session, he couldn't really push off the wall into my arms the way the other kids could, and oftentimes his legs would hang below him when we tried to get him to kick using a kickboard. His brother was doing great, but he wasn't. So naturally, I'm on high alert when I see him with a back floaty that doesn't look fastened properly, seemingly unable to get to the wall if he needed to. The water was up to his neck, and if he had slipped out of the floaty, he most definitely would have gone under. I was under the impression that this kid was alone, because there wasn't an adult within arm's reach of him. That's one of the rules at our pool, by the way. If a kid isn't able to swim on their own, they need to have an adult within arm's reach of them at all times. But just when I'm about to go get the kid to the wall, an elderly woman, who I can only assume was his grandmother, comes up to him. I relaxed a bit and continued to monitor the pool, looking over every now and then just to make sure he's in no immediate danger. And this is where the entitlement comes in. At some point, while I'm watching the kid and his grandma, the grandma sees me looking over. I keep watching them, making sure he's alright, and then I look around at the other kids. Then I move my gaze back to the kid and his grandma, and she sees me doing that again. The third time I do it, she gives me a little bit of a stink eye. But of course, I'm on duty and can't pay this woman much attention, so I keep scanning. They say third time's the charm. I say fourth time's the killer. The fourth time I turn my gaze towards entitled grandma and her son. She's now by the wall where I am and looking up at me with a pissy face. "Excuse me, can I speak to you for a moment?" For the record, lifeguards aren't supposed to talk to people while on duty for more than a minute or two, so I spoke to her while still scanning the pool. "Is something wrong?" I said. "Will you stop staring at me and my grandson?" "Come again?" "Who are you? Why are you even here? You're creeping us out, and I will talk to the front desk if I see you staring again." "Ma'am, I'm a swim teacher at this pool. Right now there aren't any lessons, so I'm lifeguarding. I wasn't staring at you with malintent. I was only making sure you and your grandson were safe. I'm sorry if it came off that way." "Well, my kid and I are fine. We don't need people watching us." "Lifeguards are required by law at public swimming establishments. I need to be watching everyone swimming here." "Can you not be creepy about it at least? Good God, how'd they even hire someone as creepy as you?" "Making assumptions based on someone's appearance. Nice going, old hag." I was about to say something back, but then something catches my eye. This old hag has been spending so much of her time chewing me out for doing my job that she failed to keep an eye out for her grandson, who was floating helplessly farther away from her, farther away from the wall, and that floaty keeps rising higher and higher up his chest, and he keeps going lower. So I ignore what this lady had been saying, walk a bit down so I'm right across from the poor kid, and throw out my rescue tube. I call for him to grab on, which he does, and safely guide him back to the wall. Grandma looks like she's going to lose it, which probably would have happened had my manager not stepped in. The rest of this went past in a blur. We got the kid a much better fitting life vest, and Grandma didn't bother me the rest of the time they were there.